Marilyn Monroe was born on June 1st, 1926 as Norma Jeanne Mortenson at a Los Angeles County Hospital in California, Los Angeles. Her mother's name was Gladys Pearl Baker. She was a Mexican by birth and belongs to a very poor midwestern family who migrated to California. Gladys has two children with John Newton Baker, her husband, whom she divorced because of his domestic abuse. Marilyn was not a daughter of John Newton, but of Charles Gifford, found in 2022 DNA test report, with whom the Marilyn mother had an affair in 1925 during working together. For the next 4 years, Monroe's living condition often changed. She was still living with Atkinson and may have been sexually abused during this time. Monroe was a very shy girl and now she developed a stutter. She shortly stayed with Grace and her husband, Irvin Doc Goddard, and two other families in the summer of 1935. After this, Grace placed Monroe at an orphanage in September 1935. This orphanage was a model institute, but Monroe felt alone. Monroe found a permanent family with that of a Grace aunt Anna Lower in 1938 in the West Side district of Sotale. From there, she was admitted into Emerson Junior High School and she went to weekly Christian Science services. Monroe was not a bright student, but she was good in writing and thus she contributed to school newspaper. Due to Anna Lower's health problem, Monroe returned back to live with the Goddard in around 1941 in Van Nuys, and she got admitted to Van Nuys School. Grace adopted Monroe, encouraged by the orphanage staff who thought that the Monroe will be happy with the family. In 1936, Grace became a legal guardian of Monroe, but Monroe was not yet moved with Grace until 1937. Monroe's second stay with Grace was very short, as Grace's husband, Irvin, molested her. Then she lived with Grace's relative and friends on and off in Los Angeles and Compton. In 1942, Doc Goddard relocated by his company to West Virginia, but California child protection law prevented Monroe to get out of the state. So Monroe got returned back to hospital, and a solution Monroe found to marry their neighbor, 21-year-old factory worker James Doherty, on June 19, 1942, just on her 16th birthday. Unfortunately, Monroe got dropped out of the school and became housewife, and she found herself and James to be boring and mismatched during their marriage. In 1943, Monroe moved with Daughtry during enlistment to Merchant Marine to Santa Catalina Island.